Cardinal Lawrence, Ralph Fiennes, must oversee and preside over the sequester in a special dormitory to select the next pope by vote. It's actually very democratic.
Well, isn't that special?
Yeah.
And we're back.
And we're back. Well, we're back -1.
Due to the fires.
Bob, we're going to miss you, but we're in the fires, and people need to go home and see if they're still there.
Yeah.
If the house is still there.
Yeah. And
Or
their
get out
animals,
of there,
And
or
their
get out of
animals
there.
are still there.
Watch their pets. Yeah.
Okay, so this week is going to be Conclave. Is me. So it's a mystery thriller directed by Edward Berger, written by Peter Strahan, and based on a novel by Robert Harris. I was very interested to see this film, as I was very curious to see how, we all hear about like a pope dies and then they do this
Lockdown.
thing and they choose a new pope. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I wonder how that works. And I figured they do their research so they know how it goes. So after next, I had never seen the inside of the Vatican. And I thought that would be really interesting too, because it's so beautiful. It's got so many works of art.
It's its
and
own
things
country.
like that.
It's
Yeah.
its own country.
So this film is very visual. It's every frame is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
It's just beautiful.
Handmaid's Tale.
But the real surprise is the story is riveting. I was like riveted. I saw this movie 3 times.
Did
Oh
you
my
really?
goodness!
Yes.
Wow.
I was locked in from the very beginning. Although the story unfolds slowly, it's not boring. We begin by observing Cardinal Lawrence, who is Ralph Fiennes. He's walking purposely somewhere with his briefcase and his sukketto, which is that kind of red thing they wear on their head, kind of like a yarmulke, but it's red.
But it's not Jewish.
No, but it's all at the same time.
It's all the same thing.
time.
To cover
All
the
a
most
religious
part.
thing,
Different name.
exactly. Cover this head.
To cover
Yeah.
the
Always
most
cover the
part.
head.
The Pope is dying, so he takes his place with the other cardinals around the bed of the dying Pope. When the Pope passes, they must remove the ring of the fisherman, and that's how the film begins. The ring is difficult to take off, symbolizing that it's going to be a difficult transition.
Transition.
Yes.
Oh, very good. I never put that together.
But as
think
the
it
dean
is.
of the College of Cardinals, Cardinal Lawrence, Ralph Fiennes, must oversee and preside over the sequester in a special dormitory to select the next pope by vote. It's actually very democratic.
Well, isn't that special?
Yeah. Besides Cardinal Lawrence, Ralph Fiennes, the other cardinals of great interest are Stanley Tucci as Bellini, John Lithgow as Tremblay,
They're good.
Lucien Massadi as Adeyemi. How would you say
Say
that,
whatever you
George? I
want.
figured it'd
Bob's
be
not
Yeah,
closer to
Joshua
Spanish.
Cardinal Adeyemi.
Okay.
If Bob's not here, you can actually say it
Sergio
correctly.
Castelletto as Tedesco, and I loved him. I loved this.
What did he play? What part did he play?
He's the
He was the
Italian
glasses?
pope. He thinks that this.
He's the traditionalist.
yeah, and
Oh,
he
right,
thinks
right.
it should be done in Latin, and if
Right.
he say, he's like
Go back to the old ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tradition.
He's the opposite of Stanley Tucci, who's like so modern,
The liberal.
right?
Right.
And that's why I like about I'm a big fan of the Catholic Church, so it was kind of like it's so why I like it. There's just these
All different.
extremes, yeah. Carlos Diaz
Yeah.
with an H, Diaz with an H as Benitez, Isabella Rossellini as Sister Agnes. Cardinal Lawrence uncovers a trail of deep secrets that could undermine the church to its very foundations. And that's how the story starts. And you're just kind of riveted in this mystery. what I thought it did is like I read a lot of criticisms of it because people didn't like it because they thought
Really?
because they thought it was to me it really humanized all the priests.
Yeah.
And they all had their different little faults like we all do.
And their political agendas.
Yeah, they were, like they're just people. That's what it showed. They're just people.
Yeah.
They're just people trying to
Be the Pope.
be the Pope. Right. And
See, I disagree. I think they're all there just to serve God. You would think, because that's
Yes.
what keeps coming
Human
up.
That's what they're all
nature.
way, yeah.
Exactly.
Human nature comes
Exactly.
in.
But
right.
but they are human nature. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's so really wonderful about them. They're always trying to be more than that. And you see their struggle. You see their struggle.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I just thought this movie was fantastic. What can I say about Ralph Fiennes? He's just like
The
so
best.
amazing. I fell in love with him first of all in Schindler's List when he played the
Was a Nazi. And I looked to Susie and
my
I said,
God.
is it wrong that I find him kind of hot?
No,
I did.
that's funny.
Well, let's say this. I did not. But
Yeah.
I really thought it was great that he played a very negative character with
Complicated.
conflicts.
Right.
I actually sympathized with him in some of his
In Schindler's List?
yes. When he
Oh.
obviously was in love with the woman
Ellen?
and his maid, I guess
Yeah.
you would call it.
Ellen.
But he also had a belief and he was totally conflicted in it. So it was kind of like, I just think that he is one of those actors, unlike when we did Maria, I did not see Ray Fiennes in that
Me
actor.
too.
I saw Cardinal
right, yeah.
Lawrence.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And
That's what I think he does best. That
Yes,
when he
he's
really
amazing.
incorporates a character,
Yeah.
Yes.
he is that character. No matter how
Absolutely.
silly, how whatever. Mine was that Budapest Hotel movie. I
Oh,
can't
that was
remember.
good.
sure.
That was good.
The Grand Budapest.
Oh, right.
His thing was so matter of
English
control,
patient.
but he was so good. But you're right. He's that character, and
He's
he
that
never
character,
deviates
and you
from it.
believe it.
And there's
Exactly.
no prosthetics.
And that really helps me in the movie,
Exactly.
which is the problem I had with Maria, is it did not, I couldn't get past Angelina Jolie.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
But this, and believe me, I think she's a very fine actress. But this is a different level. This is kind of like, I just believed her. I believed him. I
Not her,
believed
him.
him. I believed him. And everybody in this is amazing.
Yes.
And even
Yes.
though Isabella Rossellini plays a very small part as a person who actually loves the nuns, it was like she was a nun. She exactly was perfect.
Perfect nun.
I like what? How did she do that? She was like she must have grown up in a Catholic school
school, yeah.
because she was just perfect.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's all
don't
I gotta
forget,
say.
she's also Italian. So
Yes, yes.
Italian, Catholic.
But her mother is Ingmar Bergman. Not
Kind of
too
quiet
shabby.
but stern.
Right.
So she's Scandinavian and Italian. I always say you are whatever your mother is. If your mother's
They
Spanish,
say you are
you're
what your father is.
no, but you're really what your mother is. It's because she's the one who brings
they
you
call
up.
them mothers.
It's like if your mother's Spanish, you'll know how to speak Spanish. If your mother's English, you'll know how to speak.
You know,
English.
they're kind of quiet, but they're like, oh no, you didn't.
Right.
You are whatever your mother is, and that's why the old religions are smart. Like even Judaism, it's what your mother's line is.
Yeah.
It
that's
makes you
right.
Jewish.
That's right. That's what makes you Jewish. Exactly.
Yeah.
because they know, right? So I love the movie. I saw it 3 times. I never see any movie 3 times.
She never does.
And it's long too,
And
isn't it?
and it was a mystery. It was almost as good as a murder mystery.
Yeah.
It was a mystery.
That's
and I just-
big talk from Susie.
because there's all kinds of stuff going on, and he's the detective
yeah.
in a sense. So yeah, loved it.
I love this movie also. Many others coming up I don't. But this one I love because one is it was so verbal. It was so much conversation.
Absolutely, the
It was
opposite of Sisu.
Unbelievable. What?
Opposite of Sisu.
I'm sorry. I love Sisu.
I like Sisu too.
I mean, to memorize all these lines, and the whole movie is based on conversations, and that's how you find out the humanity of priests. Like each one wants to be the Pope, and how they go about it. But really, it's the ending that is so good. I wish I could tell you it, but I won't.
But you can't.
I can't. So
Well,
she
you
says I
can,
can't.
but you shouldn't.
I shouldn't, because it really puts another dimension on it. I also like the visual. The visual was very
Oh my
Handmaid's
God.
Tale. Sorry, Handmaid's Tale. They've all copied it from Handmaid's Tale.
What's Handmaid's
One day I'm
Tale?
gonna sit down and watch that series.
It's so visual. The cinematography is amazing. And you'll see how all these other movies copy that.
Is it because they're wearing the robes and stuff?
No, it's the way it's like the formation, the robes. You're right.
Of
Everything.
course, they didn't have the Michael
What?
the Michael D'Angelo stuff behind them,
No.
and Leonardo da Vinci stuff. But yeah, other than that,
Other than that, it's totally the same. Lon, what do you think?
that's amazing. It's like you're looking at Michael D'Angelo and Leonardo da Vinci, and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing.
You know, I was in Italy for maybe a day or two tops, and I got to see David.
Oh, the statue of David.
Yeah.
Michelangelo was David. Okay.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe somebody could conceive this out of a block of marble. It was like
it's
it's so unconceivable that you can't conceive it, right?
It's inconceivable.
You think that's the word. Yeah.
Speaking of Princess Bride,
Long, before you finish your bourbon.
Well, I saw this movie at the theater, so I thought this
God.
was the best movie I've seen of
Great
the year,
movie.
to be
Yeah.
quite honest. Only because I think you're right. I give it to the director. I think that Edward was it Berger? I can't remember his name. Who directed it?
oh, the was a
Edward Berger.
Yes,
Okay, he's the one who did All Quiet on the Western Front, which I also did like because he really, I thought, brought drama and, like you said, a nice visual sense that he made it cinematic.
Visuals, everything.
So this movie was the same exact thing. Not only did he have that cinematic quality,
Right?
I mean, even if you watch the trailers, for some reason, and it's almost like a cliche shot, but of them with the umbrellas and they're walking all together.
oh my God, the visuals. Were
I
so
just love
beautiful.
stuff like that.
Handmaid's Tale.
And then the cast, you're right, that
Ugh.
these are all just like actors. I mean, true actors who know their craft
Absolutely.
because they all bring the dimension of the characters alive in this movie. There's not one you doubt, but I do agree with you that I think the standout for me is Ray Fiennes. You're right.
Absolutely.
I don't doubt him. In fact, he does have a conflict of faith. That's why his character is always, I love anyone who's a religious person who has a conflict of faith.
Right. Makes him human.
And he is the dean of Cardinals. So he literally is the second in command.
Right,
to
he's
the
in
Pope.
charge.
Right. So he is the one who has to oversee the conclave. So he's the one who's responsible for everything that happens after the Pope dies with
Right.
the other cardinals, which
Right.
basically is choosing the next Pope. And he is just so good because for example, I know they pushed it as a thriller mystery, but see, to me that wasn't. This was just
Me
pure
either.
drama.
Me
This
too.
was really just such a rich drama of like, okay, all these people who are candidates to be Pope. And then of course the drama goes on, why or why not they can be, candidates for the Pope.
Right.
And just the way he goes through all these people, because even, for example, it's no secret that he throws his weight behind Stanley Tucci's character because he's more liberal. He wants to see the church sort of move forward and not backward. Yet he is an extreme. I shouldn't say
Traditionalist.
no. He's not a traditionalist because
Like
he's
a
having.
technocrat.
Well, the fact that he's having his crisis of faith.
Right.
But he's the only one who keeps bringing up, like, they keep saying, oh, I want to do this for this. And he says, well, it's about God. So he's still sticking to that you have to believe in God. That's the
whole point
only
of the thing.
reason. Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That it's not even the church, it's for God. And that's what I truly appreciate. And the fact that he's having conflict of interest, and yet he's the only one. And oddly enough, the only one who sort of notices that is that Cardinal Benitez, the one who's sort of an odd person because no one has known of this cardinal.
Right.
And like that's another part of the drama that comes in. And that's what I'm saying. They add these little layers of drama. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Because I never knew that, for example, that I just thought once you're a cardinal, that you become, like I said, he's the dean of cardinals. So all the cardinals would know one another.
Right.
But then they mentioned something I've never heard of, which is the Pope appointed him as a cardinal, which again, as Pope, I guess you're sort of like next to God, so you can do basically whatever you want with the church.
You know,
right?
you are the representative of God, if you like.
Exactly.
I don't know how someone can be a representative of God.
You're not Catholic.
That's true. Bring Frank out. He's totally Catholic.
Well, that's why I can see that, because it's like all religions. They all have somebody who is not God, but now passes down wisdom.
They all
And
have a
they're the ones-
middleman.
Right. They all have their wisdom, and those are, if you want to call them prophets,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
in this case, cardinals, popes, you know, imams.
Because most people, if they talk to God, or become nuts.
Right.
It's hard
I
to
always
talk to
talk
God.
to
Well,
God.
that's right, because it's supposedly that was why you talk to angels. You don't talk to God directly, because apparently it will drive you crazy.
I
because you
talk to
cannot accept the
God
levels.
every single day.
Sure you do.
Yeah,
Well,
I
no,
do.
no. You can talk to God. It's when God talks to
That's
you.
because you're crazy.
That would freak me out.
In fact, it was what was it? I wish I could remember. The voice of God. He's the Metatron. I think is the angel that is basically the voice of God.
That's
He's
right.
the one who comes and talks to you on
Right.
behalf of God.
If you hear if you hear Morgan Freeman's voice, Patty.
There you go. Exactly.
I do think of Morgan Freeman's voice, I must admit.
I did. I thought he was one of the best portrayals of God I've seen on
Really
cinema.
was.
He's
As
one of the
far as we
highlights
know.
for me. But it's like really fascinating, because I'm not a religious person at all, but I'm fascinated by religion, because
Me too.
I'm also fascinated by faith, because I do believe, and that's what Ray Fiennes' character. Hope and faith is what we have in this world, and it should never be destroyed.
Absolutely,
You know.
because it's two great qualities.
I just hate to see it manipulated and used for political purposes,
Absolutely.
social,
Absolutely.
any kind of way of denying people their freedom, right?
Yes,
So
for personal gain.
when it comes to this, that's why, Susie had said, that one of this Cardinal Tedesco, he really does want to take it back to the old ways of the church. That he doesn't like the whole liberal thing, and he blames certain things, about the ongoings of this to that.
Yeah.
That see what happens when you give them freedom, or you have a secular society and they accept. I think he even talks about having having like a mosque in
Right.
Rome, so close to the Vatican and all that. So and Stanley Tucci's the one who says, that's disgraceful or that's shameful. He confronts him on that. That they really talk about what the religion means, right?
Right.
So to me, it really is a drama, because I didn't really care who did become Pope,
Me
to be
too.
quite honest. I will say this, that it might be a spoiler, but I like the fact that when Ray finds the Cardinal Lawrence, he says, I have no ambition to be Pope. But Stanley Tucci, the way he almost talks convinces me. He says, oh, no, come on. No, every one of us wants to be Pope. I mean, I bet you even picked out the name.
Right.
I never even think of those terms, but I thought that's right. If you're so that you do want to get to the highest level possible. At least
Everybody
I think
does.
you would want to attain that, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. This has such a great homage, I think, to the spirituality of the Catholic Church. It shows you the problems the Catholic Church has. Because I
Absolutely.
will say this right now, I think Pope Francis, once he starts saying things in a very liberal, slant, to which I think the Pope who has passed away in this movie is sort of based on him.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
I agree.
It's really fascinating. So because I was thinking about that too, because Pope Francis, I know, is in the 80s.
Right.
Like he's up there, and I thought, pretty soon he'll pass away. And before him was Ratzenberger, who was more conservative. And
Right.
So I thought, is that the way the church is going to go? Are they going to go back to the traditionalists, or are they going to the future? And
But
so
there was also John before that, wasn't it?
John
Pope
Paul was
He
the
there
one
forever,
who,
right?
Yeah.
John
but he
Paul
was the one who
John-
took it. He's the one who took that and sort of made it more liberal, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Right? Which is why I think the likability, the world likability, it's not just the Catholics who and they revere the Pope. I'll never forget that. They truly revere this man. Because I actually saw John Paul when he came to LA.
Right.
I was here. And I thought, oh, well, here's a once in a lifetime thing. To see the number, and then mostly Latinos. I lived by MacArthur Park, which is close to downtown. It was mostly a Latino neighborhood.
Right.
Just to see them and see them cry and
And it's going
scream
to the Pope
and
mobile,
everything.
huh?
Exactly.
You know,
Really?
it reminds me kind of where people are kind of,
Spiritually?
what's the word called? Like, not kind of like, they look kind of like,
Down on the people?
yeah, the kind of like
Like
to do with
snob?
royalty and the Pope. This means a lot to the common people.
Oh, you're right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And you know, when they talk about, it's never the common people that talk like that. It's always the more intellectual
Yeah.
people
Who
that talk like that. But to the people that are the normal, everyday person, like I'm a normal, everyday person, I am very respectful of, even if I'm not religious, I'm very respectful of the Pope. I'm very respectful of royalty, of the even if I don't agree with their positions,
Right.
I am so respectful of
The
their
position.
office.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
because the tradition of, because without tradition,
We have nothing.
who are you?
Yeah, really. The tradition is important.
I'm very into that, even though I don't particularly
Fall into it.
right the family structure. I'm very into that.
Yeah.
You know, I will defend it anytime.
Yeah.
Right.
Me
but
too.
yeah, that's what I loved about this movie. It was like that they had, okay, they're a family and they have so many different opinions within that family.
Right.
Who do you choose?
And that's, who did I choose?
No,
You
not
say that's a
you,
statement.
but
Yeah.
I personally would have chose Lawrence,
I would have so totally choose you.
but I think they picked the right person.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I have no opposition to that. I thought that was a great
See,
person.
and that's what I
We
mean.
can't
By the
tell
end
you
of the
the
movie,
ending.
it didn't matter to me who they picked. I was just, because to me, like, right. Because I will say this, like I said, I think it's just a pure drama in its purest form. You are seeing
Yeah.
excellence of drama, I think, in this film.
Absolutely.
If you want a thriller about a conclave, I say watch Angels and Demons.
Yeah, really.
That's a thriller to me.
Yeah, really.
So and I thought they did great respect to the Catholic Church with this movie.
They were very
I was surprised I
respectful.
got so many negative comments from it.
Well, too bad.
Well, are
You
you
know
talking
what I
about the
mean?
Catholic Church commenting?
about the movie.
Oh, about the movie. Well,
So
no, I sort of get
humanism.
that because I think, maybe they do find it boring. I've always liked
No,
movies.
they didn't find it boring.
Oh.
They found it like kind
Unsettling?
of like a heretical. Like,
no.
like,
And
oh
that's
my
what I said.
God.
Are you saying that from a Catholic point of view? Because see, that I understand as well.
Oh,
but
yeah,
my problem
but I
is,
disagree because
see-
I feel like I am a Catholic at heart.
right? Oh no. But
If I would pick a religion, I would
Yeah.
pick Catholicism.
But no. But I can understand because of the situation that they're put in at one point. But my thing is, like I said, I think it's a good drama. Watch it. I
Right.
think it's very entertaining. Oh, and it is only 2 hours, George. So it's not
really?
that long.
Oh, not that long,
Yeah.
okay.
But it's so, like you said, so densely packed with
Right.
so many, and that's what I mean. There doesn't seem to be like even a wasted scene. Everything just seems so pleasing to me. So
Yeah.
I give it to Edward Berger and the novel that it was based on. I don't know exactly if this
Well,
is how
this
it
is
came
very
out, but
interesting to me. Isn't Berger a Jewish name?
I don't
well, it's
know.
German, I know, but I don't know if it's.
I think it's Jewish.
It's one of those movies that it probably could have been.
George, what do you
yeah.
think?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's probably another movie. A movie that, even though it's kind of slow, they probably could have been. I don't know, the hour you wouldn't feel it because,
Yeah,
like you
right.
said, every scene is just there. You're like there the whole time. You don't notice it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. I didn't see it 3 times, but I saw it twice.
No.
There about so many things over here. The movie says what the guys are. All the guys are saying. God wants me to win.
yeah, really. Yeah.
The movie to me is really political intrigue. That's
Really
it
true.
could be a movie about different politicians running for a office
A
or
position. Yeah.
and then what the things that they go through, because it deals with how they're all trying to find each other's scandals too, and then he go look in the background and what have that done, and it shows that we're doing all this for God. But you start seeing how they start running each other over for it.
It's for
How
them.
important it
It's
is
for
to have
them.
this position of power. So yeah, like that character Tedesco was pretty funny. But he does make a point that he wants to go back to the one thing that was interesting. When he sits down, he goes, "Look, all the Spanish speakers got
Exactly.
together.
Yes.
All the English speakers once got together. At one time, we all spoke Latin. We were all together.
Right.
In a way, they were separated by the individualists. That's in his
Yes.
own mind. That way, he sits on negative too.
Well, you know what? I totally agree with him.
I
think it
thought
was,
so too.
I
Yes.
thought it was wonderful when all the services were done in Latin. If you would ask me, I would think that
So-
would it added a magic to it.
He
It's a
had-
dead language.
So he has certain points that were right, like that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
Exactly.
some of his points were also that were conflicting with Stanley Tucci's character,
Right,
where he
right,
says
right.
he's just so backwards too. There's certain things we're not gonna have, like maybe we won't have gays in the
Right.
in the church or.
Oh, they have tons of gays in the church.
But nobody's
trust me.
saying that his
Yeah,
views.
really.
He's might be right in certain things, but he's wrong in a lot of things too.
Right.
And Tucci wants to modernize it, but Tucci also shows, and it kind of how they all divide into groups and they have little meetings,
Right.
like a clique.
Yes.
Okay, we got so many votes. We got to get this guy. We still got to bring votes for this
The
character.
politics involved.
The politics,
Exactly.
and how even at one point, I don't know if it's a spoiler, but at one point, Tucci, who's the one that Ray Fiennes wants to be back.
Yeah,
his group
he's
is
backing him.
There's
Yeah.
at one point where he also begins to have an issue with Ray Fiennes because he thinks, "Are you really backing me, or you want it yourself?" Kind of. And I'm like, "Wait a minute! I thought you wanted to do it for the good or whatever." Now suddenly you're sounding like he's political.
Well, Tucci kind of expressed the underlying thing of all
That
of
was
the
going
on.
previous.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But I might cut this, but if it's a spoiler, but he does redeem himself. He sees the error of his ways too. It's like, you know what?
Yeah,
I
he
got too
gets
caught
it.
up in it.
Yeah.
And I apologize for that kind of thing. I see now that you say that the same person made All Quiet on the Western Front, because I did notice what I noticed about this movie is that the look of it had a high contrast.
Right.
And I
Absolutely.
remember that about All Quiet on the Western Front. It had a very high contrast, the coloring of it.
Yeah, it
And
was.
it had a very unique
Handmaid's
look.
Tale.
I have to watch
Excuse
it.
me.
Very unique.
Handmaid's
Yeah,
Tale.
very unique look, the cinematography, the backdrop, and everything. It's like, yeah, I'm like, I would love to go to Rome just to go see all this
Yeah,
stuff.
Oh
right.
my
It's like,
God!
it's like, wow,
yes.
like, I mean, the close I've
See
been
all
to
this
is,
art.
the close I've
They
been to
have
is at
the
the
art in
Getty,
the Handmaid's
which is
Tale?
now on fire,
No,
probably.
they don't.
Oh, yeah.
No, they don't.
So,
They're Puritans.
I mean, I've seen some
Come on.
sculptures at the Getty, that Greek sculptures and some
Right.
Italian that you're like,
Right.
this stuff is just mind blasting.
Mind
That's what I say, mind blowing. But no, I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's once you get past the summer blockbusters, the Deadpools and Wolverines, which I love.
Me too.
Now you're getting into the war movies with
I
a
always-
real movie. Yeah?
I always heard that around September
Mm.
to December, the IQ of the public watching the
goes up.
movies goes up 20%.
Yeah, now
Goes up or down?
now we're
Up.
because now we're seeing
20%.
we're
get
seeing
smart.
Like the arty films.
Yeah.
The
exactly.
supposedly. You know?
now we're seeing real movies, the meat
Right.
movies,
Exactly.
the real
Right,
movies,
right.
real thinker movies, and this is one of those movies, definitely an Oscar movie. So no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really, and I don't think it did that one in the Golden Globes, but I thought it was really good.
Okay,
I
so
think that it's also kind of timeless because this happens every time a pope
Yeah,
dies.
Right.
and it gives
So-
you. It gives you like a bird's eye view or a fly's view, whatever.
Yeah.
What goes behind the
Yeah.
scenes? When they do
I'm
the,
sure they did the
when they do the
research.
conclave.
I'm sure they did the research.
I'm sure they did too.
You know,
As far as I know, it's
So
just
should I
white
score?
smoke, red smoke, or whatever. So black
Yeah.
smoke. So now
Yeah.
it really goes what's behind the black smoke and all that.
okay, so I give this movie a 10.
Well, she's
Well-
supposed to do it
Oh.
first.
Okay,
Well, we know.
sorry.
we know.
I give it a 9.
I gave it a 7.
We'll give it a 10. That's good.
10. Okay,
Nice.
so without Bob, we miss you.
But thank you that you're not here to criticize
now
us.
we're going on to the next movie next week.
We'll be back.
So stay tuned.